Yo, it's your boy Fro Fizzle, and today I'm going to be talking about the things and the movies and television I watched in May 2023. So ain't nothing to it but to do it. First up, we got a recent film by the name of Nefarious, starring Sean Patrick Flanery. I caught this one at the theater, and I found this one to be pretty interesting. This one had some thought-provoking dialogue and some interesting ideologies about the devil and God. It's relatively a very talky, dialogue-heavy film, and there are one or two moments that are shocking that happen, but for the most part it's very dialogue-heavy. This one's about a psychologist who's trying to get into the head of a death row prisoner, played by Sean Patrick Flanery. The more that these two characters talk back and forth, we come to find out that there's a demon possessing the death row prisoner. I want to save further thoughts for a full review, but I had a great time with this one. It actually surprised me. Next up, we have the Adam Sandler sequel, Murder Mystery 2. Coming from somebody who did enjoy the first film, I didn't have high expectations for this one. But I'd be lying if I said I didn't have a good time with this one. In fact, I might even put this sequel a little bit higher than the first. Adam Sandler and Jennifer Aniston's chemistry works very well together. I thought the violence in the first one was a little bit brutal for a PG-13, but I thought they even amped it up just a little bit more for this one. There's one scene where a guy gets an axe stuck in the back of his head, and I thought it was pretty hardcore for a goofy PG-13 comedy. Long story short, I really like this one, and I might do a full review sometime down the line. A Man Called Otto. Now, I already did a review for this, so if you haven't seen my review, I'm going to plug it right here and check it out. But real quick, I really enjoyed this movie, and I thought this was Tom Hanks' best performance in a long time. We're used to seeing Tom playing a goofy or happy-go-lucky kind of guy, so it was pretty refreshing to see Tom go against type and play this grumpy old suicidal man. Despite how dark certain pockets of this movie are, I really enjoyed the lighthearted moments. The Mother, starring J-Lo. This one I wasn't a huge fan of. I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it at the same time. I didn't think there was anything wrong with J-Lo's performance, but I found this movie to be very, very mediocre. J-Lo's playing this cold-blooded assassin with no emotions. At the start of the film, she's forced to give away her child, but she tells the people to keep her in contact so she can keep an eye on the daughter as she grows up. But to sum it up, I thought this movie had very forgettable action sequences. Again, there's nothing wrong with J-Lo's performance, but I didn't care for the daughter. One of my favorite characters were killed in the first 30 or 40 minutes, and that kind of pissed me off. And I probably wouldn't see this one again. Next up, we have the recent 2023 flick Sisu. Now, I had a blast with this film. Saw this one at the theater. Didn't know too much about this one besides the man being someone that digs for gold, World War II setting, and Nazis. That's all I knew about the film. But here we follow a mute man that keeps to himself. He finds some gold one day, comes across a group of Nazis. They stop him and they try to rob his gold. And the movie turns into a pretty brutal, gnarly, gory, all-out war kind of film between one man and one group of Nazis. I'm going to say my further thoughts on a review, but awesome time at the theater, and I'll even get this one on Blu-ray when I get the chance. Knights of the Zodiac. I ranted on this one quite a bit, and the review's on my channel. This one is an absolute dumpster fire. There's a handful of actors in here that I really enjoy, like Sean Bean, Mark Dacascos, Famke Janssen, but the terrible writing, the script, the dialogue, the wonky special effects, all majorly downgraded the fuck out of this film. I did find one or two fight sequences to be okay or decent. Everything else sucked. The Covenant, directed by Ritchie. This one's another theater watch that I really enjoyed. Great performance from Jake Gyllenhaal, and a plot that surprised me quite a bit. I went into this movie thinking that Jake Gyllenhaal was going to be the guy that has to save the other guy to get to the base. So I was pleasantly surprised to see that the movie was flip-flopped, that Jake Gyllenhaal was the guy that had to be saved. I'm blanking out the name, but I really enjoyed the co-star as well. Not one of the more graphic war films like a Saving Private Ryan and such, but there is a decent amount of violence that's pretty suspenseful. This is another film that I would grab on Blu-ray. Next up, we have The Price We Pay, starring Stephen Dorff and Emile Hirsch. This one's about two brothers that have to flee out of town after a robbery gone wrong. They come across this weird, creepy farmhouse and are suddenly tangled into some creepy black market operation going on at the farm. I did like this one, but I felt it reminded me of From Dusk Till Dawn way too much. Not with the black market stuff at all, but with the two brothers. Emile Hirsch is playing the crazy psycho brother like Quentin Tarantino did in From Dusk Till Dawn, and Stephen Dorff heavily reminded me of the George Clooney route. So I felt these two in this film were a rinse and repeat version of the two brothers in From Dusk Till Dawn. But I am a gorehound, and there are brutal moments in this film, so I feel like I got my fix. The Machine, starring Bert Kreischer. I didn't have really any expectations going into the theater with this one, but I walked out with a big smile. I really love this one. Bert is playing a slightly over-exaggerated version of himself, but I really enjoyed his performance, and I thought he even surprised me with some nice moments of heart. Mark Hamill plays Bert's father, and from the beginning he's a bit reserved, but from the middle to the end, Mark Hamill's able to chew the scenery and go over the top in the best way. There are some flashback scenes where Bert is a bit younger, going through his college days in Russia, and I can see some people having trouble with the pacing of the film, but I can't really think of any big nitpicks. Next up, we have a film that I can understand why people enjoy it, but I am not a fan whatsoever. The Disney film Turning Red. Now, the main reason this one isn't my cup of tea is because I felt the characters, including our lead character Mei Mei, were very unlikable and pretty irritating to listen to. I didn't love the best friends, didn't love the mother, and the only person I kind of liked in the film was the father, only because he felt very down to earth. And of course, I didn't like the film just because they're girls. That's not fair. I just found nearly all of the characters to be nails on a chalkboard. The new De Niro film About My Father. I do like Sebastian Maniscalco. I thought he put in a nice, funny performance. And I did like De Niro playing the kooky old father. And I even thought there were some nice, decent moments of heart scattered around, and mainly towards the ending. I liked the finale. There is a running joke involving a peacock that did give me some pretty big laughs. Moving on to my rewatches, only have 4. Man of the House, starring Tommy Lee Jones. Most people I know don't love this film, but I gotta admit, I do have a slight nostalgic bias with it. Of course, Tommy Lee Jones is playing his usual cranky, no-nonsense type of character, but I like it when he's able to deliver comedic lines in a very dry way with a straight face. There are moments in the film where the cheerleaders do annoy me quite a bit, but not to the point where I completely hate them like I did with Mei Mei's friends in Turning Red. Cedric the Entertainer has a decent sized supporting role, but he does steal the show in my opinion when he pops up. He plays a crooked kind of guy that Tommy Lee Jones was chasing in the past, and he becomes a pastor. But again, I do like this one. Funny performances from Cedric and Tommy Lee Jones, and the cheerleaders, sometimes they annoy me, but I do like them at the end of the day. Alright, I'm trying to speed by a little bit because it's 4 in the morning and I'm dead tired. But the next 2 we have up are Halloween H2O and Halloween Resurrection. Of course, Resurrection is not a great film. In fact, we can unanimously say how bad it is, but I do get some enjoyment out of Resurrection. Yes, Busta Rhymes karate kicking Michael Myers out of a window is absolutely stupid, but I love it. I do like the overall setting of the reality TV show. And again, I will agree that Resurrection is a bad film, but I do get some personal enjoyment out of it. I genuinely do like H2O, particularly the finale where Laurie chops off the paramedic's head with the axe. And I wouldn't have been mad if the franchise ended with Laurie chopping off Michael's head. But at the start of Resurrection, we come to find out that Laurie really chopped off one of the paramedics' heads, and Michael slips off into the woods. H2O also has Josh Hartnett, who I do like as an actor, a young Joseph Gordon-Levitt, and also contains one of the first times I ever saw a black dude survive a horror film from my personal viewing. I believe I saw H2O before Deep Blue Sea, but I do like H2O, And I do like Resurrection despite how bad it is. And the last rewatch for me was the 2004 reboot, Dawn of the Dead. When you get the chance, check out my in-depth review on my channel. I covered about 14 minutes worth of material for Dawn of the Dead, the reboot, so help your boy FRO out. Loved the reboot ever since I was younger, and it was actually one of the first films I ever saw at a theater. I do have the 78 Romero classic here, and the Zack Snyder reboot around right here. So pretty close. But that's it, y'all. Your boy FRO Thizzle. Until next time, check out the reviews that I got dropping soon, and I'm gonna get some sleep. I'm dead tired. Until next time, peace.